So the Film Columbus job I used to talk about workflow and more of an interview setup. For this project, it's an artist named Rose Haze. This was a music video for one of her songs. It was a pretty vibey video. I had a lot of fun coloring this one because we had a lot of freedom. And as you can see, it's a bit different. So let's take a look at what's going on with this grade since it's a bit more complicated. To start, I did an initial contrast adjustment. You can see I left quite a bit of room in the blacks here. You can tell it's less contrasty already. I did a white balance. Everything's looking pretty good with that respect. Moving on. This was a color balance for a creative effect. The director and I chatted about what we could do with this piece to make it a little different. And we decided, oh, let's just make all the darks green. And so that's what we did. Basically, all that was me using the lift tool and just pushing it towards the green side of this color wheel. Easy. And I also, there's another icon here, which is the key function here. And basically that just affects how much of what that node's doing ends up in the grade. So if this is at 0.447 and I reset it, this is 1. So let's go back and forward. You can see there's a lot more green here when I reset this key node, or this node key function. And when I turn it back on, it's much less prominent, and you can see it reflected in the parade as well. So that's off. This is on, off, on. You get the picture. If you feel like you took one node too far, this is a good tool for pulling that back, just right here in the key output. Moving on. This, I think I just was adjusting it to make it feel darker, which, there you go, it's darker. This tool, I really went in to adjust her skin tone. So this was very much to separate her skin tone using the keyer and using the power window, and then also a key, so it moves with her. I pretty much just let the key take almost everything in the power window without just focusing on her skin, because she was getting kind of dark in the frame anyways. So these two nodes here, this one bringing everything, this one making everything darker, this one bringing out her as a subject. You can see she's a bit brighter. She's separated from the background. Her skin looks more normal. Both of these things brought out the subject more. Adjusting the background and the foreground or subject separately is a big part of what you can do as a colorist. And then finally we did, a reverse halation here. The reverse halation is a trick that I picked up from watching Ian Vertivec talk about, I think, coloring the girl with the dragon tattoo, or in reference to a different film that he did, and I can't remember which one it is. Anyway, it's the exact opposite or reciprocal of the halation effect, where you key out the darkest parts of the image and you blur those out. So you can see it's blurred. The darkest parts of the image are keyed. This is before, this is after, and you can really tell in the guitar head here. After, before. So it gives it that surreal feeling. And that is the reverse halation. So all of these nodes went into making this one clip, which is not all that long. It's a pretty long clip, all things said and done, in terms of, shooting a music video or a commercial. But there's a lot of work that goes into these things, and just even the ideation of figuring out what you're going to do, it takes time. So we can go through and sort of start from scratch. So we're going to start with going dark, going bright. That's our initial contrast, and then we want our white balance. It's feeling pretty good. So I'm just going to do it like I would do it now, with not being in the same mindset as I was at the time. So usually I go straight for skin tones in that second node. Second or third node after the basic corrections. Just gonna make a power window here. Let's track it. All right, that looks pretty good. I'm going to make it pop. It's looking nice. I'm going to add my green. Boom. Nailed it. And I'm going to add my reverse halation. So I'm going to get the darkest parts of the image. And let's blur it. All right, cool. I'm gonna adjust the screen a little bit. And I also, thinking about it, I really want this to cover more of the subject. So I'm gonna make it bigger. And this track will still work. As long as you are on clip and not frame, it will adjust the whole track and not make a keyframe. So I'm going to remove this key and see what it does. All right, that's feeling nice. And I think what I'm gonna do is take this key and just bring it down. Just bring those blacks down a little bit. But I'm going to avoid doing that on our talent because I want to see the texture of her shirt. So I'm going to make a power window, make it nice and soft, track it, and I'm going to say get everything outside of this power window. Great, so that's what I did today. Let's look at what I did 6 years ago. Quite different. Most noticeably the color of the green, but you know, I'm just looking at this one clip right now, and at the time I was looking at the whole project, and I also have 6 years experience, different taste than I had back then. So, you know, different gear, different experience. A lot of things factor into how these things look the way they look. So this is what I did today. I like this a lot, actually.